Hey guys, welcome back to Previa Alliance Podcast. We're still in our series, My Motherhood, and we're bringing back a fan favorite, my glam goddess, Hannah.
Hey, how's it going?
So good. Thank you for coming back to us.
Thank you for having me.
We're ready. So tell us what you did on Instagram to bring us some good information today.
All right, so I did a little poll and just asked people, or I guess a question box, not a poll, and asked people, the real secrets to motherhood that no one prepared you for and no one warned you about. And even if someone did warn you about, you didn't really take it seriously until you were a mom and got it.
I mean, you have so many followers. I'm very excited about this. I'm ready. I'm like, let's hear it.
Okay, one of my favorite ones that I really relate to is the overwhelming anxiety that you will never not be responsible for another human.
Oh my gosh.
Doesn't that hit? Like
that gets me to my core.
Yes, like even when they're 18 plus out of your house, you're still, your heart is still responsible for another human.
I mean, she put it into words. I mean, I say too, this a lot about what happens when you have that baby, even when you're pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
You never go back to not knowing them.
No.
Or not having them. And it's just like, it just doesn't end.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Like I remember when I was pregnant, you're always worried, oh my gosh, is something going to happen while the baby's inside of me? And now that I have a 2.5-year-old, I'm like, wait, that is the new normal. Like, when they're out, you worry about SIDS and choking and things like that. And now he is in daycare and sees someone else for 8 hours. And there's still that thought in the back of your head, like, oh my gosh, what if something happens? Like we recently took a trip to Punta Cana, me and my husband.
Yeah.
And he stayed with my in-laws who are amazing and he loved it. But as much as I was able to relax, there was still that part of me that was like on edge. Like just, it's always going to be there.
And I feel like I'm probably more that way than Bill. Because he'll be like, why don't you just relax? And I'm just like, because I still keep the boys' schedule almost in my head.
Mm-hmm. Same.
And I'm just like, look at the clock and I'm like
12 to 2 nap time.
Yeah,
we gotta get,
I know. Or I kind of like, we can't do that. And he's like, we're on vacation. I'm like, oh yeah, right. Yeah.
You're
they're
right.
not here. Yeah. So that's me.
Yeah.
That's me. That was a good one.
I love it. Someone else said Lexi. I think in our last episode
Lexi.
We talked about Sexy Lexi, my BFF Lexapro. I'm on a very low dose.
Yeah.
But
there's no shame.
No shame. Girl, do it.
No shame.
Do it. Now, I mean, like I said, he's 2.5 and I don't see myself coming off for a while.
Yeah.
A lot of people said it's okay not to connect with your baby immediately, right when they're born. Like sometimes I think a lot of people feel like something's wrong with them because they don't feel that surge of emotions.
Yeah.
And we talked about it in the last podcast. I was able to feel that surge of emotion. Like I knew the second I saw him that my world was changed. But then I think we talked about it a couple weeks ago. The next night I was locking myself in a bathroom because I didn't feel connected.
Yeah.
So, it's all okay. You're going to feel a lot of emotions. A lot of hormones are racing through your body, and you're going to feel it all.
It does not define you. And I thought, James, I've said this, and I'm honest about this, me and Bill both had a hard time connecting with James in the beginning.
Yep.
But I had a miscarriage before James.
Yep.
And I think it was a self-defense mechanism.
Oh, yeah.
And Whitney gives me a lot more insight into this usually. And it's just saying, like, yeah, you're protecting because you want to protect that child, so you almost attach as a way of protection. And then sometimes, you just gave, like, your birth could have been super traumatic. It could have been long, or it just could not. You're overwhelmed.
Yeah, exactly.
But it does not mean I love him any less.
Exactly. And I have seen that in a lot of clients that have had miscarriages before. Like, I have a client right now, I think she's close to 30 weeks, and she hasn't started anything for the nursery.
You're almost afraid to.
Afraid to get too emotionally involved because if it ends bad,
100%.
God forbid.
I was last minute on nursery for James, last minute packing bag, because for some reason, I think once you do experience a loss, the bliss of happiness that sometimes comes with just like assuming it's not going to go wrong is taken away. And I just remember, especially with Will too, I was so nervous I would have to come back and lose him and see everything.
Exactly. And it's so funny you say that because one of the girls who said that, she has done IVF. Yeah. And I think if I'm not mistaken, it took them 5 or 6 years to get pregnant. Yeah. So, it's definitely, there's something to that.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Edit. Sorry. I'm trying to. Oh, can we talk about the first poop?
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
Okay. Also, someone said no one tells you that your first poop after vaginal birth is literally a panic attack.
Oh my gosh. Well, so C-section here.
Yes.
But I was still C-section.
Yeah.
It still can be. Now, I did not rip. I did not tear. So but I was still very, very obsessed about what it was going to be like.
Me too.
I pre-medicated with stool softeners.
Oh, same.
Like a crazy person. And I remember the first thing I said was, I need to make sure I'm taking my stool softeners. I want she's like, oh no, it's scheduled. I'm like, no, I want PRN too. I had a pillow around my stomach. We had a pelvic floor therapist on Emily, and she was so great at saying like, you can get a little stool and like, you need to elevate your legs.
Yeah.
But yes, you think the world will end.
Yes.
And you're internally going to be tore apart during this.
Yes. Luckily, I was prepared for that. One of my good friends had a baby a couple months before me, and she told me she had to have her husband come in and like hold her hand.
Yeah. I had Bill.
Yes.
I had Bill in front of me, and I was concerned if Bill was going to have to help wipe me.
Yeah. Right.
I didn't know how this was going to go.
I was afraid to bend too much.
I didn't know how this was going to go. And I remember this moment. I stood up. Why they had this like this, there was a full-length mirror.
Oh, gosh.
In front of the toilet.
Oh, my God.
I stood up. I saw myself. I thought, oh, my God. And I looked at Bill. I started sobbing. I was like, is this who I am? And he was like, don't look at the mirror. Like, what else could he say at that moment?
Yeah.
Is that not humbling and brings you down to like, was that on Instagram? No, ma'am, it was not.
No.
But is that like in my memory forever?
Forever.
Is it in Bill's? Probably. He still loves me afterwards. But I mean, that's a humbling moment.
Yeah.
You can't walk.
Yeah. You can't do anything.
You can't
by
do
yourself.
anything. Now, vaginal, a lot of my friends have said, you got to do the whole like rinses.
Frida.
Yeah. Put that whole thing, postpartum in the hospital, those moments.
It's a dark place.
It's a dark place.
It is. It is. Someone also said you will mourn your old life. Your marriage will change. You will have to find new normals, which we talked about some last time. I definitely agree with that. My marriage definitely shifted. All my relationships shifted after I had him. And we have really made date nights more of a priority.
I love that you guys do that.
Yeah, we love the Redmont Hotel in Birmingham, and we every couple of months we'll go just for a staycation. We'll just go to a nice dinner, and then we'll go to the Redmont. And
yeah, you're showing Nolan, I love this, what a healthy marriage looks like.
Thank you.
The fact you guys being better together is only going to serve him.
Yeah, exactly.
So no guilt when it comes to that. And you know what? It could even be, we've done date nights at the house when we put the boys down. We'll go sit in the backyard, go just somewhere different. You don't kind of make a little picnic.
Where you don't see the laundry.
Yeah, where
and
you don't see it. Or you can bring the baby monitor, turn it down. They're okay.
Turn it down. They're okay.
They're okay. This is that, ask each other questions, reconnect. Because we said this last time, like at the end of the day, it's going to be you and your partner.
When the kids are gone.
When the kids are gone.
Yeah.
And they need to see that. And that's okay to put your relationship as a priority.
Exactly.
That does not mean that you love your child any less.
No. And I truly believe that putting our marriage first is the best thing for Nolan.
No, it is.
Like you just said, I want him to see that, the healthy relationship, the healthy boundaries.
Yeah.
I want him to have a respect for women that he is going to get from seeing his dad put me first.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I think, I will disclaimer, in the first part of postpartum periods, me and Bill had rough spots.
Oh, yeah.
So we do prioritize our marriage now. Now, in that postpartum period, I always tell this, and a lot of my close friends know this, especially with James. I was on the verge of postpartum depression. I didn't have it again. I was very rageful with James.
Yes.
I just got angry. And what helped us, we went to the rage room.
Oh.
Okay. And we asked our dear friends, they were trying to get pregnant. They were a young couple. And I was like, please come over and watch the boys. We need this.
Yeah.
And me and Bill were just at that point where we're just butting heads. We're both sleep deprived. He could do nothing right, even if he was doing everything right to me.
Yes.
And that just was reality.
Yep.
he could be perfect and I would find something wrong.
Exactly.
And constantly hearing me put him down did not help anything.
Yep.
So we did a rage room and we reset. Now, was it perfect after that? No, but did we know, hey, we got to fight for each other.
Yep.
And this is temporary.
It's all temporary.
It's temporary. It's a phase. It's a stage. It's a season.
Exactly. It is. Someone else said the smallest things will bring you the biggest joy.
That's so true.
It is. Like, I remember, this is going to make me sound crazy. And there were definitely nights where all I wanted to do was go to sleep.
Yeah.
But every now and then when Nolan would wake up in the middle of the night, I would be like, it's okay.
Yeah.
We're hanging out.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if we're not sleeping because we're getting to hang out.
Yeah.
You know, now the next night I would, you know, cry because all I wanted to do was sleep.
Or just
but
like that you hear them and you're just like, oh, yeah.
I know. I remember thinking,
Zombie
I
walk.
just want to tap out. How do I?
Yeah.
It made me feel like a quitter in every other aspect of my life. Because
Yeah.
if Nolan had not been relying on me, I would have just said, I'm done.
Yeah.
Tap out.
Yeah, because that's, I mean, those nights are so hard.
They
and
are.
so long and isolating because you're just like, especially if you're breastfeeding, you got to get up either way to pump or feed.
Exactly.
You know, so that's, I always tell the story of my pump. I used to call her Old Bessie. And I would bring her everywhere. And you were able to breastfeed Nolan for
15 months.
Okay.
Yeah, 15
months. So
months.
pumping, you can probably speak to pumping. Do you got any tips?
The reason I was able to do it for so long is because we didn't have the visitors in the hospital and at home. So for the first 8 to 9 weeks of his life, I just was a cow. I was on the couch without a shirt on.
Just let it be.
Just let it be. It is what it is. Sorry, Parker. Like, this is our phase right now.
Yeah.
So that and then the LV pumps saved my life during working. I was never able to completely empty, but when I was working and with a client, it was just enough to keep it going.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good note. Mommies take note.
LV or what's the other one they have? The Willow?
Willow.
Okay.
I liked the hand pump.
Oh, yeah.
For
the
some,
𝐿𝐸?
Yeah.
Oh, the 𝐿𝐸. The best.
Yeah. Because then if I was feeding on one side, I put it down on the other because I hated, because it would just
everywhere
drench me.
Yep.
And I felt like it was liquid gold just running away.
And for me, in my mind, I guess I was so bored and sleep deprived, I made it a game to see how much I could get on the 𝐿𝐸.
Yeah.
And I would text my husband at work like, oh my God, just got 3 ounces on the 𝐿𝐸.
Yeah. Hey, whatever you got to do.
Yeah, right.
Whatever you got to do. I will link those, guys. So if you're pregnant and postpartum, you're looking for some like options. We know it works. It's mom verified.
Yeah, it's the best. Okay, something else. I didn't experience this because I didn't have the epidural. But someone said I had a spinal headache from my epidural. I didn't even know that was a thing. It was so painful, all while trying to take care of a toddler and nurse a newborn. She said it lasted 2 weeks, and the only thing that helped was laying flat and lots of caffeine.
Wow.
I know, which I didn't even know that was a thing. And as you know, being a mom, laying flat is not an option.
No. That, I've heard of that just from my nursing career, but like I think that you have to, I don't know if they go back and add something, but it's very painful. I do know that, and I feel so sorry she experienced that.
Yeah.
Because that is, and she probably, if people don't know about it, her asking for help, or they may think, oh, she's tired, when she had something medically wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
I know. Poor thing. Also, one thing we need to talk about is the sweats, the postpartum night sweats. No one mentioned that to me at all.
Okay.
At all.
You wake up
drenched.
Like a drowned cat.
If it's not breast milk, it's sweat.
And you're looking around. And I remember Bill one night, like I just like stood up and I was just like, just like stripping my clothes down. And he's like, what is happening? I'm like, I'm drenched for the 50th time. I smell, I'm leaking. And like you couldn't sleep well.
You couldn't sleep.
And it just, if it was not your boobs, it was your,
everything.
Everything.
That is one thing I tell all my clients before they're having a baby. I'm like, get extra bed sheets. Yeah. You are going to change your bed sheets just as much as you change your newborn's clothes.
Put 2 on so when you
just strip it off.
Yeah. And like the cute, wonderful clothing, go for comfort. Because it's going to be coming off.
For you and the baby. The Magnetic Me, did you ever have that?
No.
That brand? Oh my gosh, that brand. We only had 2, But now I go to all the consignment sales, and every time I see magnetic me, I grab it because it doesn't have buttons. It doesn't have a zipper.
No one
it literally
has times for buttons.
No one. Why did,
No.
Before he was here, I got all the cute sleepers with all the buttons.
I will see that, and I'm like, we need to return that.
Yes.
Thank you, but
no thank
you.
No
thank you. That's gonna push me over the edge.
Yeah, the buttons. In the middle of the night. Screaming baby.
We did a lot of the gowns for James.
Oh yeah.
And I remember my dad was like, "You're putting him in a gown?" I'm like, "Watch this." You know, and like I had it down in like 2 seconds.
Exactly.
Things you do not know until you went through it, or someone tells you. And this is something we haven't touched on: postpartum hair loss.
Oh, I'm so glad you brought it up. That is one of the biggest things I see, obviously, in my profession. It will wear you down. It will tear you down. It will make you not feel like yourself. I do extensions, so
remember,
if you need that.
You
got a halo.
I was like, I can't. I was like, this makes me feel insecure. I remember being in the shower. Why is it in the shower that like you just? I mean, you're hearing phantom cries, probably, right?
Right.
And you reach up and you just have a handful of hair, or you look in the shower drain. Okay, don't look.
Don't look. Don't look. Just make your husband clean it out and get out and brush your hair.
What do you tell?
So, Viviscal is one of my favorite products. It's a supplement, but you can't take it while you're breastfeeding.
Okay.
So, the second moms quit breastfeeding and they're having that issue, I'm like, you've got to take this.
Okay.
Also using leave-in conditioner. Because for me, I had a lot of postpartum hair loss after I quit breastfeeding.
Okay.
Which I have noticed that's when it happens for a lot of people when you quit breastfeeding. Because it's like you have a whole other surge of emotions going through you.
Right.
And that's when that happens. But for me, postpartum, like those first few weeks, it was tangles. And I could never figure out if it was tangly because I wasn't brushing it and wearing it in a bun 24/7.
Yeah.
Or if it was just my new texture of hair was so dry and tangly.
Yeah.
So lots of leave-in conditioner. Take a minute of the day to brush your own hair. Your baby will be okay. If they're laying there crying, just brush your hair. It'll be fine.
And how long do you see till moms kind of get that regrowth?
Ooh, I feel like it's about 6 months, which a lot of people have it in their temples, unfortunately.
Oh, mine was, and your face is where everybody looks.
Everyone looks.
So and then you're putting it up.
And you have those bald spots.
And then you have the temples. Grow out moments.
And you have the weird bangs. Yep. It's a whole situation.
And I remember I saw when I was younger, I was like, what is that bad haircut? And I'm like, now I'm just like, that's mom.
Yeah.
She's trying her best.
And a lot of the times the new growth has a different texture. So it'll be like curly. And in the South where it's so humid, it's usually sticking straight up. Ugh, it's a situation.
And that made me feel even worse.
Yeah.
Honestly. Your hair makes you feel, get a good blowout, get your hair glammed up, and you feel, I always felt so good.
Exactly.
And then when you're having this regrowth, you're having the loss, you're not sleeping, it takes a while for your body to get back. There's no bounce back.
No.
And that's something I think so unrealistic.
Yeah. And I feel like that's what Hollywood shows us. Like you have your celebrities that have babies, and then a month later they're in a bikini.
Yeah.
With a 6-pack and long, luscious hair.
Yeah.
They have people for that.
They probably have night nurses. They have chefs. They have workouts. I mean, they have everything when we're doing it all.
Exactly.
And I think, I'm very open and honest. If you see me and it's a photo shoot, Hannah's claimed me. So I'm just going to be realistic. I go to people who know.
I have people.
But my day to day, you're not going to see me that way.
Yeah. And
so, but I try to always just be like, I have people. Don't expect, this is not me.
This is not self-made, honey.
No. And that's okay.
Yeah. Even for me, I have people, I do have clients, but I have a friend for my baby shower. She did my hair and makeup just because it was in the middle of June and it was hot.
You don't want to do that.
And I was tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else we'll end on this. What's else kind of was your theme that you think that moms just wanted to tell you on your Instagram question box here? Because I feel like it's just they truly felt like they could be honest.
Yeah. I did have one client that said her husband thought she was cheating. Can I talk about that?
Yeah.
Because she was so, hold on, let me go back to the message. Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Okay, I did, unfortunately, sadly, have one client who said her husband traveled all the time back then when she had her children. And she became so distant that he thought she was having an affair, which kind of breaks my heart.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
this is one of my close friends. I know
Yeah.
them. He's a great man.
Yeah.
But I guess she just got so in the trenches, like we
Yeah.
call it, that her
Yeah.
husband thought she was having an affair. So I feel like it's really important not only to reach out to help for a medical provider, but to talk to your husband about it. And one thing I did with my husband ahead of time was I said, a lot of people have postpartum depression.
Yeah.
It's a huge possibility I will have it just based off of my previous mental health.
Yeah.
And so my husband was kind of prepared, which I'm really glad that we did have that conversation
Yeah.
ahead of time.
Yeah. That's part of Previa Alliance that, me and Bill were never told about postpartum depression.
Oh.
Never.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. It was never brought up. I was never screened. Were you ever screened for postpartum depression? It's a 10 questionnaire. Your doctor should have gave it to you. 10 questions. Ask how you've been feeling over the past 7 days. Have you been seeing joy? Have you been blaming yourself? So it's a research-backed screening tool called the Edinburgh. So that's part of why we started Previa Alliance, is because if you screen moms in the first trimester and you continue to the first year of childbirth, 50% of people who have postpartum depression and postpartum have it in pregnancy.
Oh.
So that's why we started Previa Alliance, is we offer screenings. We screen, we track and trend, and we provide early connection to treatment.
Okay.
So we try to catch them early because I was showing signs with Will after the anatomy scan.
Okay.
So once I figured out he was super high risk, we had really bad odds.
Yeah.
You can't, I carried that.
It takes a mental toll.
I went into anxiety and depression and then add on the traumatic birth. No one ever screened me. Everybody was like, she's okay.
Yeah.
She's fine. She's handling it well. Look at her. So that's why we started our whole journey. And we should have had that conversation, me and Bill, but I think people just assumed we knew.
Yeah.
And they just don't want to talk about it. Sometimes it's a hard thing to talk about.
Because motherhood's supposed to be this joyous thing that you don't want to bring to light the scary or negative things.
And it's hormonal. It's some things we just can't control.
Yeah.
So that's something we did with James, is I said, I don't want to get back. I don't know if I will. If you've had postpartum depression, it does make you a higher risk to have it again. Okay. Some don't, some do. But we had that conversation, and he's like, so how can I check in with you? What do you need? Do you need a safe word when you're feeling very overwhelmed?
Yeah.
At what point do we need to, look at this? So I always encourage, have those conversations. And so with the screening too, we want people to have conversations like you had and talk to your family and say, I hope I don't have this. 1 in 3 women have this. 90% of women have baby blues.
Yes. Oh.
So the difference between baby blues and postpartum depression is how long it lasts and severity of it. So having those conversations early with friends, with parents, with spouse, with partners, hey, with your hairstylist.
Right. Yeah.
Early on, just saying, making it a conversation is never going to be a bad thing.
No, never. And let me ask you this, because I know you had a rough go with Will.
Yeah.
And I have a friend who, she messaged me about this after I put the question box up. And she had, about the first year of her son's life, he had a lot of issues. He had seizures. He was in children's a lot. And she said that she found herself being jealous and mourning what she thought was going to be that first year. So did you experience that with Will?
With Will, I know this sounds, I feel like superficial to say, but it's the truth. When I had my delivery and he was in the NICU, seeing him, I was so upset that this was I was thankful he was there, but I was mourning that I did not have him like everybody else. I was like, oh, he was so tiny and so frail. Yeah. And he had bad reflux. Oh. I was jealous of what I thought it should be. Yes. And I maybe even resentful. And to see, I'm like, why did they get a healthy, easy baby here, And so I had to take off social media. But, I think those all feelings are valid.
Very valid, yeah.
Does not make you a bad mom. It's hard because no one equips you for when your child is medically challenged or your birth doesn't go the way it's supposed to. No one, that's hard.
That's not what people are posting on social media.
They're not. There's a few accounts now, I think, that are trying to be more open and honest and, medical mom journeys. Yeah. But a lot, it's not. And they're not showing you they're crying in the hallway or they're at their 5th doctor appointment for that day.
Yeah.
And you just want your kid to be like everybody else.
Exactly.
And you feel like you're failing, but you're not.
No.
Because you're advocating, you're trying your best, but you're getting worn down too. You're human.
And I've learned in motherhood that you are thriving if you're surviving.
Yeah.
You know, if you, there's no right or wrong way to be a mom. If you are doing the best you can, you are doing the best you can.
Yeah.
And you should get a gold star.
And people try to like truly just gaslight. If a mom says it's hard, you can love your baby, be very thankful for your baby, and still admit that moment's hard.
Exactly.
And there's nothing wrong with that. There is moments that I don't always enjoy in motherhood.
Yeah.
And that's reality.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it, I unfortunately have a couple friends struggling with infertility right now. And there's so much guilt in those moments that everything's not perfect, because I know that they would do anything to be in that moment with a child of their own, you know?
We had Lacey on, and she did IVF, and she had a journey to get to, she's pregnant with a baby boy coming in December. And she was just saying her pregnancy has been really hard. So what you go through to get that baby does not mean that you can't still have hard and different phases of motherhood.
Exactly.
And I know I struggled to get pregnant with Will, and I had conflicting in my heart. Well, I wanted him so much, but it's so hard.
Exactly.
But it just because one season does not determine or reflect another season. And I think we have to give ourselves grace.
Exactly.
And you just got to support each other and just have open conversations to know, moms, you're not alone.
No.
You are not the only, you're seeing all these highlight reels.
You're seeing all the good.
And you're not seeing, that was maybe 2 minutes of their whole day.
Right.
Let's be honest.
And we know what it took them to get that to, you know.
Yeah, highly created 2 minutes of that day. I mean, I get, like, I just relate to our photo shoots. Like, I go to you, you glam me. Come back, the house is burning down. I'm just going to be honest with everybody. Everybody's trying to get clothes on. Someone's lost it on the car ride.
Yeah.
We have the best photographer, Rachel, but she sees us in our chaos.
Yep.
And she makes beauty out of it. And our photos are great. But I'm like, if y'all want to know what happened that day, let me tell you.
Yeah. Can everyone just smile for one photo?
Yeah.
No one cry, and then we can all lose it.
As Bill's going, just do this for your mother. Let's just do it and move on with our lives. So it's just, again, it's a picture. I'll look back. But I 100% know in my head, too, that day, our stage of life, what it took to get that photo. So it's, but you're not going to see that on my Instagram.
No. Like we had newborn photos. Probably Nolan was about 9 days old, and that is one of the few people we let come over before his vaccines. But I'll never forget. That morning was chaos. Absolute.
If you think it takes you an hour to get ready with a child, double that.
Double it. Yeah. The first time, do you remember the first time you left your house without your husband? With the baby?
God.
I felt like Superwoman that day.
Did my car have like 15 diaper bags and 20,000 changes of clothes? And did I have ever pump part in case, even though he was with me?
Yeah, right. You never know.
You never know.
You never know.
Yeah. No, I always encourage moms. You're going to feel like you're conquering the world. Those little things you do, but you'll get your rhythm.
You will.
You'll get it. But
you will.
Now it's like I take 2 with me, and I feel like,
oh gosh, cannot
it's gonna be
imagine.
a whole thing. But like I still look back and I'm so proud of Sarah in that moment who conquered, because I had a lot of anxiety to even leave the house with Will.
Yeah,
huge anxiety. I was overcome with that was part of my postpartum depression. So that was even like a bigger deal to me.
Yeah. And something else I did, a story I want to tell because I feel like it helps a lot of my clients is. Nolan was a COVID baby. They were only allowing one parent at the pediatrician. And I just remember I could physically not do it. Like we were sitting in the pediatrician's parking lot and I could not bring myself. I made my husband drive me. Obviously he had to. I had a C-section and I was sitting in the back seat with Nolan and I could not get out of the car. Luckily, one of my clients works at our pediatrician. I texted her and I said, I am having a mental breakdown in the parking lot. I know Parker's not allowed to come in. He's got to come in.
Yeah, I can't do this. Yeah.
I literally, it was just, I don't know what about it. I could not get out of the car. And even then, so Parker was able to come in. We were still wearing masks at that point, and I was just crying. Like I remember the whole first appointment. Yeah. My mask was soaked from tears. I just was like walking around like a zombie.
Your nose was probably running because it's just like the mask makes it worse, right? And you're just like snotty, teary.
It was so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doing good to be there.
Doing good to be there. And I mean, you're bleeding.
Yes.
You know, anything that can happen is happening. Nolan's crying.
You're leaking then.
Leaking.
Yeah.
That is the first place he got his first latch, which is weird. Like, I remember he was like crying. The doctor was about to come in. I'm crying. He's crying. My husband was like, oh, we use those, what are the bottles that come pre-made?
Oh,
that they give you in the hospital.
I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about. So he was like getting one of those ready. And I remember being like, wait, let me try. Yeah. And so I just whipped it out and Nolan latched. It was the Lord in that moment.
Helping you. Yes.
Parker was literally like.
And he's like, oh.
You did it. And then the doctor comes in, and our doctor's a male doctor. So I remember being like, oh, I need to cover up, but I don't want to. And the doctor was like, no, keep going. I was like, this is the first latch.
You're like, this is a monumental moment. This is it. I couldn't get out of the car, but I got this here.
Yeah. My mask is wet from tears, but we have our first latch.
But what a defining, but what a moment that, you can share with other moms, because we've all been there.
Again, the highest of highs and the lowest of lows.
All in a period of one trip to the doctor. Because that's what happens. Mm-hmm. It literally, you'll just be like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing. And then you're like, it'll break you. Yeah. And you're like, I don't know if I can do this another second. Mm-hmm. And it's all something that, again, you have to share your stories of motherhood.
Yes, you do.
Because we're all in it together.
We are. And like you said before, you know, when our kids are older and we see a young mom in the grocery store.
Help them. Open the door.
Open the door.
Can I just go on my soapbox for 1 minute? When people park.
Yes.
Leave room so I can open that door and get my children out of that car seat.
Exactly. Because if not, your car's going to get dinged up and I'm not going to care.
I just am like, you know, that is something that you're crossing over the line. Now, I've parked bad, so, shame on me, too. But, there's some people that I'm just like, you can look probably and see the goldfish in my floor to know I've got a situation. Okay? I have got a situation. Yeah. So, when I'm loading that situation, it's
keep your car out of the way.
Yeah, keep your car out of the way. But just, open a door for a mom.
Please. And for the love of God, if a toddler waves at you,
wave back.
Wave back.
I'm that mom. I'm like, he said hi.
So you better say hi.
He's waving at you. I get so offended by that.
Me too.
I need to work on that.
Me too.
But I'm like, he's waving. Do you see the wave?
And you better wave back.
Okay, do you see a cuter hi? I don't. All these things that you're ready to brawl in a parking lot, over. But in the day, we're all out there trying to be in this together. And I thank you for bringing your Instagram followers truths.
Thank you.
And your joy as always.
Oh, thank you.
You'll have to come back.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
We love you.
And if you are listening to this and you are one of the people that responded to my Instagram, thank you for that.
We appreciate it. You're helping so many other moms.
You really are.
Till next time.
All right. Bye. Oh, that was fun.